In this video, I want to talk to you about what I think is the #1 thing that you should do when you get to a new body of water. I know for myself growing up, and even nowadays, there's still some bodies of water that are just a little bit intimidating. They're a little bit overwhelming. Maybe they're very vast and you just don't know where to start. And in this video, I want to give you a very simple tip. It is something that I still do to this day when I get to the body of water that I'm fishing, and it really helps me to start catching fish a lot quicker. Now, before we get into the tip, this video is brought to you by my apparel company, Fin Fishing, and more specifically, my bass hats. Guys, this was one of the first products, that actually was the first product that I ever sold. And this particular hat actually has a wooden bass badge on it that is made from an old bourbon barrel. Some of you guys over the years have thought that this is leather, but it is actually wood. It's a very comfortable hat. And guys, I have some new colors. Obviously, I have this one. It's probably one of my favorites right now. It's going to be a big hit come 4th of July. I have some of these other new colors as well. I have a bunch of colors. So if you guys want to help support the channel, one of the best ways to do so is shopping at Fin Fishing. You can check out some of the new hats. They are really, really awesome. All right, let's talk about this tip. And guys, this is something that is so simple. And you know, the reason that I wanted to talk about this is if you guys watch my other channel, BassFishingHQ, I have a series of videos over there that I call Lake Break. And it's basically when I go to a brand new body of water and I try to break it down. Usually I give myself anywhere from 6 to 8 hours to try to figure out how to catch 5 bass on any given body of water. I really like it because it helps me to become a better angler. And it also helps a lot of anglers, I think, out there just to kind of see the thought process of like how I go about things, and maybe it can help you when you go out there. Now, I by no means am an expert. I've just done it a lot, so I feel like I do kind of have a system in place that helps me. But when I was looking at, just the other day, I was looking at all the Lake Break videos that I had done, and 8 out of 12 of the videos that I've done over on Bass Fishing HQ, in 8 of them, I have caught a bass within the first 40 or 45 minutes that I went to a brand new body of water, which I thought was actually fairly substantial. And it all came down to this one thing that I do when I get to a new body of water. And I do it, like I said, I do it. And if you've watched the Lake Breaks, you're probably about to know what I'm about to say. And my saying is that if I don't know where to go, I don't go far at all. And I think that this is so important. Most of the lakes that I get to, I will sometimes not even put crank my big motor up. I will just put my trolling motor down and start fishing. And in this video, I want to give you 3 reasons why I think that when you get to the body of water, why you should start fishing pretty much at the boat ramp. So let's dive on into those. Now, the first thing that I think is really important to understand is that when I get to a new body of water, typically it is earlier in the morning. I like to get there just before sunrise so I can kind of get out on the body of water when the sun is coming out. Now, no matter where I have been in the country, no matter how cold it is, no matter how hot it is, no matter what time of the year it is, there is always a morning bite. There's something about those low light conditions, both in the morning and the evening, when bass are wanting to bite, when they are feeding. So I think that it is really important when you get to a body of water to just spend as much of that first hour or 2 just fishing, just going out there and fishing. And the reason being, fish are active in the mornings. They are more willing to bite than they are probably between 10 a.m. and 1 a.m. So if I know that I go to a lake and I'm gonna spend a lot of time offshore fishing and graphing, I will spend a lot of that time kind of between 9 and 10 to 1 o'clock actually doing more of the graphing when fish are kind of in a transition phase. And I will spend the morning time just fishing. Whether that's fishing the bank, maybe I just go out to a point and just randomly start chucking a crankbait around. I think it is so important to just start fishing. So when you get to a boat ramp and you put in, maybe a lot of times boat ramps are right there in a little creek arm or they're in a protected area. So you can just start fishing. And guys, I think that is so important because fish are actively feeding. And more than likely, you will start to get bit. Like I said, 8 out of 12 of these videos that I have put out there, I caught a fish in the first 45 minutes, and it was all because of starting literally where I can see when I get to the boat ramp. Just whatever, the best thing that you see when you get to the boat ramp. I remember one time, I got to a boat ramp down in North Carolina, and you'll see this all in the video. I just happened to see a bunch of docks leading into a creek arm, and there was some wind pushing up against them. So I picked up a swim bait, I went down that bank, and I started to figure out fish. I actually realized that there were spotted bass on this fishery. Started to catch some spotted bass on a swim bait. It was awesome. Just the other day, I went fishing up in Michigan, and I put my boat in the water. There was this small little like creek. Well, it was really kind of like a pocket with an island in the middle of it. And I'm like, I'm just gonna go fish up there, because if fish are up and shallow, which I didn't know if they had moved shallow yet, I'll probably see some because the fish are fairly clear. So I never even started my boat engine. I just put my trolling motor down and I started fishing. And I didn't start, this is the crazy thing about this. I didn't start my big motor until almost, I think it was 4 hours into the day. I just kept going on my trolling motor because I was catching fish. And so I just went about it. And that happens a lot of times on even big fisheries. I remember one of my buddies fished a Bassmaster Open just a few years ago on, I can't remember what river it is, the Arkansas River, I want to say. Anyways, long story short, there was a place that he was running that was an hour away. There was a small creek that was within like a minute of the boat ramp. You could get there on your trolling motor, where like 3 of the top 10 guys were fishing, right? They were all right there. Now let's talk about the second big reason, and I kind of just talked about it in that last little example, is that a lot of boat ramps are release areas. Okay, so you are going to have a fish population near a lot of boat ramps, especially if there are major boat ramps where a lot of tournaments go out of. Because what happens, guys go out, they'll go and they'll fish different parts of the lake. If they bring those fish back to that weigh-in, and those fish like what is in that general area, you look at the science, look at the scientific paper, you will see that almost 50% of those fish will stay in that general area for a long time, like upwards of over a year. So if you're launching at a boat ramp where a lot of tournaments go out of, more than likely there is a lot of fish around. Now, I'm not saying that catching like the released fish is like the best way to go about fishing, but what it does, again, is it starts to give you some clues. It starts to help you figure out what the fish are doing, because you know that you are fishing around a population of bass. What we are doing when we get to new bodies of water to try to figure out the bass, we're trying to find where the population is. We're trying to find where life is. So if you put your boat in the water, more than likely you are putting your boat where a population of bass is. There's no reason to start your motor. Just put your trolling motor on, put your trolling motor down, and start fishing everything that looks good. Maybe you see a lay down bank, flip it. Maybe you see a riprap bank, crank it. Maybe you see there's a little point close by on your Navionics or your Humminbird Lake Master maps. Fish it. You know, just fish what is right in that general area. I cannot tell you how many times I have caught a fish really early in the day because I'm fishing right there by the boat ramp, and it is giving me a clue as to what I should do the rest of the day. Now, that's actually part of point number 3, is that one clue can give you everything that you need. One bite can give you everything that you need. So I think of the saying, you know, give a guy an inch, he'll take a mile type of thing. In the fishing realm, a lot of times, if you just get the smallest clue, you can figure out an entire pattern. Now, does this always happen? 100% not. Sometimes you get false clues. Sometimes you catch fluke fish that lead you down a bad path, and that's a whole different video for a whole different day. But sometimes that one little clue that you need, you can get it in the first 15, 20, 30 minutes that you are fishing, because you're fishing close to the ramp, and it can help you to catch fish all over the entire lake. Maybe you happen to, there's a boat, maybe there's a marina right where you're launching your boat. And maybe you just pull off into that marina and you start, you know, fishing a swim jig under the marina floats, and you start catching fish. Then you're like, I know where another marina is. You go to another marina, you fish that swim jig, you catch more fish. You go to another marina, you catch more fish. You start to figure out a pattern so quick. And it's not just with marinas, it can be with anything. There can just be little things. You might catch fish in grass. You might catch fish on wood. You might catch fish on rock. Those little things can help you to, just, what's the word that I'm looking for? I'm sorry, guys. I am not speaking well today. It can help you to just get a lot of stuff. Someone say what the word is I'm thinking about. If you find one fish doing something, it can help you to really make the lake a lot smaller. I know it's right there. It's on the tip of my tongue. All right, guys, I'm obviously talking too much about it, but I hope that this really does help you. When you get to the body of water, just start fishing right then and there. All right, if you guys like this video, you might like this one as well. Also, don't forget to check out the fin gear right here, including this awesome hat. I'll see you guys tomorrow.